the FIH Pro League Hockey has headed to Potchefstroom this time around, with some of the globe's best nations battling it out at the University of Northwest. One of the nations taking part in the Pro League is South Africa, who are taking on the likes of India, the Netherlands, England and France. Joining me now to discuss the tournament as a whole and hockey in South Africa is SA men's hockey team player Clayton Saker. Clayton, thank you very much for joining me and welcome to the show. I mean, firstly, you're making your debut as a national team player in a tournament of this magnitude. How have you found the intense competition thus far?
Thank you for having me. I think as a sportsman, you kind of want to have the toughest games to play, and any opportunity to represent your country is always a privilege. So for me, especially, and the team as well, it's such a great learning curve to play against the best in the world. Quite nerve-wracking to get your debut against them, but also such a great challenge that we as a country are so ready to step forward to.
I mean, you're talking about just playing against the best in the world, but just looking at the team also, looking at those players that have experienced the likes of Billy Nduli, who have been in the squad since 2015. How are you learning from the likes of Billy, who have much experience in the team?
Yes, Billy, and there's a few other guys that have been around in the setup for quite a while, and they're definitely helping nurture the guys that, like myself and a few others that are still quite new to the setup and haven't had much experience in international hockey. So we definitely are having a lot of conversations off the field, on the field, and learning from them, which is helping our growth and in turn competing on the hockey field.
I mean, I'm just looking at the results thus far, playing against Netherlands and India. You lost 11-1 to Netherlands and 10-2 to India. How is the team taking the losses? Does it get a bit disheartening for you guys as players?
No, definitely. We don't want to lose a game in the first place, but we do have to understand that they are in a different league at the moment. So we are trying to compete. We're trying to improve our process so that we can compete at national level and hopefully put the scores like that against them. So it is a bit disheartening, but we need to understand that we're all in different processes. They're in a different process. They have many caps under their name, whereas we quite a young side that's looking to nurture and grow. So I think we're just learning together, and hopefully the results are going to change pretty soon.
Surely there's some lessons that come out of those games. What is the coach saying that you as a team need to work on?
Yeah, there are a lot of lessons. That's also the nice thing about being in this type of environment. We're doing a lot of video sessions and a lot of work to try and fix the errors that we're making, and just to try and be better, because there's a lot of learnings about how they do things and how we can do things better. So learning about ourselves and taking things off international teams is part of the process that we're quite enjoying at the moment.
I mean, I'm sure for you personally as a player, you have some goals, obviously the ultimate one being playing for the national team, but what are you looking forward to the most as a player of your sort? I mean, I know that you've also played for the SA Under-23, but now you're here. What are you looking forward to?
It's obviously, like I said, an honor to play for the country, and to reach this milestone, especially at my age, was quite cool. But I'm just looking to grow, especially with the country, and compete in different tournaments that are coming up. I mean, Commonwealth is coming up in this year, and there's a lot more hockey to come up. We travel for the rest of the Pro League. There's the World Cup in 2023 and competing in the Olympics in 2024. So just hoping that I can put myself in the best shape and the best position to be in those competitions competing for my country.
In terms of the Commonwealth, what is the word from the coach in terms of expectations from the team? Obviously, you guys are competing in this competition to kind of like sharpen your edges here and there, but what is the coach saying as you look ahead to Commonwealth?
I think this is also a good settings mark for us, playing against these teams of this international stature going into the Commonwealth. Previously in tournaments, South Africa was a team that went to participate, but after the recent results in the Olympics and the squad that we're growing, I think we're approaching Commonwealth with a different view that we can go compete and not necessarily cause upsets, but make sure that South Africa is up there closer to the podium than what we've been in the previous years.
I mean, some of the experienced players unfortunately couldn't take part in this particular tournament because they're working and it's still an amateur sport. Do you think somehow it is affecting the flow of the national team in terms of consistency because it's not yet that professional sport that we see as other sports in the country?
Yeah, it does take a knock-on effect when the guys do have full-time jobs because of the nature of South Africa being, the hockey being an amateur sport. Um, but for us, it also breeds an opportunity to get other people international exposure and get other people into the environment of playing at this level. It thus creates the strength in the squad, and it allows us to make sure that we can participate on a greater level.
How are you managing as a player, trying to push through for playing professional hockey and also trying to get that money in at the same time?
So currently I'm a student, so I don't have that much pressure as what the other guys do, but it is quite tough, especially here on camp. We see a lot of guys that have to train in the morning, we have team meetings, and straight after that they've got to get to work and either work remotely. Some guys couldn't even make it because they couldn't get leave, and some guys are working from here. So it is quite tough, and it's quite a burden, but it's a sacrifice that we have to make in order to make sure that we get a living and represent our country in the sport that we love.
Well, Clayton, wishing you nothing but the best as the FIH Pro League Hockey continues. Wishing you and the team as a whole nothing but the best moving forward at the University of the Northwest. It is Clayton Saker over there who plays for the SA National Hockey Team. He's actually making his debut in this particular tournament.